Happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for joining me here. Got a crazy story for you about past NBA great Latrell Sprewell. Before I get into it, do me a favor, just starting out here on YouTube, trying to grow my channel, hit the subscribe button. Join me on this journey. Got a lot to talk about. If you like my video, hit the like button, leave me a comment, share it. Let me know what you think about Latrell. Let's talk about it. All right, so Latrell Sprewell had a nice. It says here, okay, let me just read this. Former NBA player Latrell Sprewell laughed at a $21 million contract and laughed at $21 million and went broke shortly after. So Latrell Sprewell had a nice NBA career, but his legacy for many fans involves the moment when he turned down $21 million. His basketball career went into a tailspin after that. Now his story serves as a cautionary tale for pro athletes in every sport to be careful with their finances. All right, so let's see what we got here. Now, so what happened with Sprewell is, let me move this out the way. So he's playing for the Knicks. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but Sprewell, his most famous thing he was remembered for was when he choked PJ Carlissimo in practice. That was kind of the start of the end. So Sprewell played for the Knicks, did a phenomenal job with the Knicks, got traded to the Timberwolves, where him and Sam Cassell and Kevin Garnett had a great run. They ended up losing to the Los Angeles Lakers that year in the Western Conference Finals. But Sprewell had one of his best seasons. He was on a tear. Um, when he choked out PJ Carlissimo, I mean, when a player chokes his coach, that just sets a bad precedent for the rest of his career, regardless of what sport. You can't assault your coach. What coach is going to want you to play for him? So that kind of set a precedent. So, all right. So let me read this here. There was still optimism about the next few years for the franchise, but Sprewell did his part to extinguish that hope as soon as possible. For the 2004-2005 season, Minnesota offered him a 3-year contract extension worth $21 million. Sprewell was earning $14.6 million in the last year of the contract he got from the Knicks. So his contract with the Knicks carried over in his first year with Minnesota, $14.6 million the last year of the contract. He got paid that with his first year with Minnesota. So Minnesota said, yeah, we'll give you a 3-year contract extension, $21 million, $7 million a year. That's pretty decent money. I mean, Sprewell, he was a great player. I think he was a 3-time All-Star. He could have, like I said, the Timberwolves made a good run, got beat by the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, so could have turned them into a championship team. But let me finish reading here. You can understand the decrease in pay being a slight blow to the ego, but Sprewell expressed this emotion in the most out of touch way possible. According to Blackwell Channel, he turned down the contract and explained his decision by saying, why would I want to help them win a title? They're not doing anything for me. I'm at risk. I have a lot of risk here. I've got my family to feed. There you have it. There you have it. So when you say something like that, when you're making that much money, hardworking people kind of take that to heart. So the fans, they weren't super impressed. All right, so after he made those ridiculous comments about having a lot to risk and his got a family to feed, like you can't feed him with $7 million a year, right? So this is what happened. This is how we ended up going broke. So, all right, first, hang on. So after he made those, excuse me, crazy comments, says to the surprise of no one besides Sprewell, the quote enraged the fans. Like I said, you can't say you got a family to feed making $7 million a year. Hardworking people aren't going to take to that too well. All right, so the quote enraged the fans, and the surrounding fear affected his play. He had the worst scoring year in the league, and the Timberwolves failed to make the playoffs. After that happened, after he had a great career, a great season with Minnesota, they go to the Western Conference Finals, get beat by the Lakers, who went on to win the championship. He goes and had his worst scoring year, and the Timberwolves didn't even make the playoffs. That's quite a big turnaround right there because not much else happened. They still had Sprewell, they still had Garnett, they still had Cassell, so it looks like Sprewell, that whole thing just completely affected his play, apparently. So despite his big mouth, Sprewell entered free agency expecting a deal from someone who would align with his warped perception of himself. Oh my God. The contract never materialized. He never played in the NBA again. That's crazy. So here you go. Excuse me. Latrell Sprewell was a beast. He was an absolute beast. The Latrell Sprewell highlight reels are insane. This guy's a monster. He could play. So, and used to love him. I had a Latrell Sprewell jersey back in the day, Golden State jersey. But when he choked PJ Carlissimo, that was the beginning of the end. A lot of people turned a lot of people off. They're like, what is this guy doing? Who does he think he is? Then this whole thing with this saying this thing with the contract and 7 million is not enough to feed his family. I think that was the end of it. He lost support from a lot of fans, alienated a lot of fans. I mean, what coach would want him to come play for him after he already assaulted one of them? So that was it. He entered free agency, didn't take the $21 million deal, 3-year extension with the Timberwolves. Now, if he had taken the deal, played his ass off, that contract extension could have went a lot higher, or someone else would have picked him up for a lot more. His ego got in the way, so that was the end of it. He went into free agency expecting a huge deal for himself, and that was it. Ended his NBA career. That's crazy. So then what happened was, so let me finish reading this. Sprewell would come to regret turning down those contracts, obviously. According to SF Gate, by the end of 2007, he was sued by his long-term partner, girlfriend, wife, whatever, for $200 million while also alleging that he abused her. He had his yacht named Milwaukee's Best repossessed, defaulted on his $1.5 million mortgage, and Milwaukee went after him for $3 million in back taxes. Sprewell made over $100 million in his career, and his current net worth is a mere $50,000. That is nuts. Over $100 million in his career, and it's all gone. It was. He appears to be at peace with some of the mistakes he made, or at least willing to pretend to get paid for a commercial. Details Twin Cities, but his tribulations now serve as one of many examples of how players can go broke after well-paying careers. That is just mind-blowing. That's just crazy. So there you have it, folks. That's what happens when these athletes get these huge egos, when they just get derailed by this. That's all it was. This guy thought that this $7 million a year extension for 3 years is $21 million. Thought that was not enough to pay for his lifestyle and to feed his family, and that was his fall from grace. Had his After he turned that down, had his worst year after that. After that year, went into free agency. No one picked him up, and it's sad. I think Latrell, if he didn't choke PJ Carlson, if he took that contract, I think he would have. He still had a lot of life left in him when he went out. He didn't go out obviously on top. He had his worst year ever with the Timberwolves before his career ended. But it's just a shame. So that just shows you when ego gets in the way. And what's the difference? If you get 21 for 3 years or 10 million, once you get into that kind of money, you're pretty much set. You don't have to worry about your bills. So put your ego aside, play basketball, win some championships. But that's it, guys. I saw this story, and I was a huge Latrell Sprewell fan back in the day, early 2000s, and like I said, I had his jersey. He was a beast. I loved watching him play. One of the most explosive, super exciting players of that time. He was so explosive. I mean, he could play anywhere. Take it to the rim. Super fancy dunks. Could shoot threes. I mean, this guy could do it all. Super athletic. And it's just a shame that he's where he's at now. Probably wishing he had taken that 3-year, $21 million deal. Shame on you, Latrell. But anyway, I just thought it was a pretty interesting story. I actually didn't know that's how his career unfolded. I knew that he kind of abruptly just disappeared from the NBA. I knew that he was having issues after he choked PJ Carlissimo. Wasn't a big fan favorite. Wasn't a big NBA favorite. I knew that was causing some problems. And then all of a sudden, he just kind of fell off the NBA radar. So there you have it. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Like I said, just starting out here, hit the subscribe button, help me grow. Like, share, leave me a comment. Let me know. Let me know if you liked Sprewell back in the day, if you thought he was just a head case, which he was, but he was exciting to watch. All right, my rant is over, guys. Happy Halloween. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe out there. The world's gone crazy. Peace.